2, 1. That brings us into our next album, Tears of Injustice by Mdou Moctar. And if you don't know who Mdou Moctar is, fair. They are a Nigerian guitarist, which honestly, unfortunately, does not necessarily play well to the majority of streaming platforms, I think, unfortunately, because they are incredible. They are an incredible guitarist all the way through. They really focused on like Tuareg guitar, which is kind of like Mali, like Saharan desert blues, which is a very specific genre, obviously. This is... People are going to learn about a new person today, anybody that actually listens and watches this, and I think Bob and Mel both learned about Mdou Moctar quite literally yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And a lot about some African injustices. I feel like I learned a lot from this album.
The Tuareg people, like they have their own kind of music, and specifically the genre that Mdou kind of steps on with, like Malian Saharan blues, it generally has a lot to do with political crises, with political strife. It was kind of formatted to be a lot of rebellion style kind of music. It takes a lot of inspiration from kind of psych rock, but using a lot of the area's more common instruments, the tempi, drums, lutes, that kind of thing. And you're going to find that a lot in a lot of Mdou Moctar's works, kind of all the way through. It is quite literally all about injustices that happen in Northern Africa. It inspires a lot of that kind of feel. Again, an incredible guitarist that pulls from another incredible guitarist, and basically if you take a look at the whole genre, the Saharan desert blues, there is one person credited with being influential in it, and that is Jimi Hendrix. So you're going to hear a lot of those kind of vibes. This is Mdou Moctar's most recent album, but they released an album in 2024 called Funeral for Justice, which is the electric version, basically, of this song. This is an acoustic cover album of their previous album, which was all about really kind of focusing more so on the injustices that are caused by other countries and their influence in the area, as opposed to kind of the injustices that are happening from their own governments, that kind of thing. Talking about France, talking about England, talking about US, and how they influence what happens in their country without actually kind of having to go through the things that the regular civilians actually have to go through on a regular basis. So they're making decisions without having to feel the effects of what those decisions are. And that was really kind of the big focus of this. So we're going to talk, I think, quite a lot about Funeral for Justice as well as Tears of Injustice, even though Tears of Injustice is the focus, because they are the same album, but they take on two very different vibes when you take away the electric component, because the electric component is really what that Saharan blues is. And taking it and making an acoustic version of it, just gives it a completely different kind of view, and a little bit more of a traditional view as well, I will say, because obviously, especially in that region, electric guitars were not necessarily prominent for the whole history of Nigeria, the whole northern Africa kind of area. So a really, really cool album. And before we dive into it, Bob, did you have any notes that you wanted to mention on Mdou Moctar before we start talking about some of the songs?
Yeah. The acoustic vibes of this album are a lot. Like they're what am I trying to say here? It's very indicative of like the feelings that I think they're trying to portray. At least because this album is more about like almost like mourning that all these injustices are happening, where the last one was more like fuck the power kind of vibes. This is more like this sucks, this is happening, this is the plight of our people kind of thing going on, and you really feel that throughout the whole album. So this is a very interesting album for a lot of reasons. But yeah, we'll go into that as we go through the
And Mel?
deep dive here. Yeah.
This album was actually the one I was most looking forward to listening to this week, just because it's
Yeah.
something I've never even thought about like diving into before.
Yeah.
I love an acoustic album too, so that's really cool.
Same.
Like,
It's a little bit of a different take from your regular, like,
Yeah.
Bon Jovi Unplugged
I don't
version.
like
Yeah.
Bon Jovi.
Things.
I don't
Right.
like Bon Jovi. I'm from Jersey, and I hate him. But yeah, okay.
Anyways, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
No,
like,
I
it's
know.
just,
Yeah.
it doesn't,
I'm kidding.
this acoustically, this still
Yeah.
is not going to be, if you're just like, oh, I like an acoustic album, I don't
Right.
know where you're going to feel
Yeah.
on this specifically, because
Yeah.
again, it is from a completely different continent. It is a very, very different vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Malian blues, and specifically kind of the electrification of it and the electric guitar and that kind of psych rock vibe, is kind of what you said, Bob. Like, it is about rebellion. It is like it was music that was used to get people prepared to go and actually try to go fight for their rights. Whereas when you acoustify it, it stopped being more, we're going to come together and do this, and more, these are just what's happening, and we need
Yeah.
to talk about them and
It's
discuss them.
heartbreaking.
Awareness almost kind of thing.
Exactly, and I think
Yeah.
that that's a really cool thing that Mdou Moctar does, is takes it in kind of both sides. Like, not only do I want this to be an anthem for people to, fight against the injustices that are happening to us, but also I just want people to know that they're happening in the
Yeah.
first
To
place.
feel the emotion of it, like not just the rebellious emotions of it, but the plight. Like, as I
100%.
mentioned. Yeah.
Also, if
absolutely.
you strip away all of like that like all of the instrumentation, like it forces you to pay attention to what they're listening to, which is interesting to
Yeah.
say because it's literally in a different language that none of us speak. But like it forces.
Speak for yourself.
Go ahead, Bob. What you got for me?
That's
But yeah, so like
That's
it
it.
forces you
That's
to
gonna go
really
splay.
pay attention. And we're canceled.
I was just singing. Like,
But yeah, like really forces you, I think, to pay attention more. Like you need to
Yeah.
know what they're talking about, or it's just acoustic instruments.
yeah.
100%. Absolutely. So going into the first track is Funeral for Injustice, which is the title track of the 2024 album that they're covering. I'm going to play a quick clip first. I feel like playing the clip is probably the most important thing. I'm going to probably just play the clip before we actually get into any details right off the hop, because
That's cool.
if you don't know what you're listening to, anything that we say is going to make no sense, because it is, the instrumentals are just absolutely incredible. And then obviously Mel, who translated all the words, so knows actually what is happening.
Yeah.
And what they're discussing. I'm so excited to hear Mel's full-blown review of this, because it is, I didn't take the time
Because
to
I'm
do
the
that.
only one who knows
Yeah.
what he's saying.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Without further ado, Funeral for Injustice, or Funeral for Justice.
For
pardon me.
justice, yeah. Yeah, this is the
So
opening
Mel,
of the album.
do you mind translating?
Yeah.
Okay, so this song, they're essentially saying, like, not essentially, they are saying, dear African leaders, hear my burning questions. Why does your ear only heed France and America? So they're essentially like, you need to start listening to your people. You're not listening to us at all. You're only paying attention to these, like, I mean, France has a lot of control over them, and then America is just fucking America, unfortunately. So like they need their leaders to like stand up for them, and they're not doing that. And I thought the way the tempo of the instruments was going, it was actually making me nervous. Like I felt like it was like
It is.
it was
anxiety
like
to
cutting
a little
off.
bit.
It was almost jarring, and it almost made me feel like we need to rush. Like you need to actually do something now. Like it really worked for me with what they were saying. Big fan.
Like just kind of that like subtle delay on
like,
every line where it's
that
like
cut
it's
off, that cut off.
Yeah.
It was just like, and he's just moving to the next one, and it's like we got to do something here. At least that's how I took it. But yeah, they're basically just calling out like children are suffering on your watch, and you're not doing anything. You're only listening to these superpower, like these mega countries. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's so nice to know.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Because you can feel it. You can feel, obviously, that there's something impassioned about it. What I liked about this, obviously, the tempi drum on it all the way throughout is just, I also really enjoyed that. And maybe it's because I just listened to a drum album that I enjoyed so much of the drum that I was so focused on drums pretty much the whole way through. But I found the big difference between the Funeral for Justice version and the Tears for Injustice version, the acoustic version, was this kind of felt like a little bit more upbeat as opposed to the electric version. The electric version, again, felt like really kind of aggressive and coming from a place of frustration, whereas this felt like, we can do something about this, let's do it, kind of mentality. And I thought that juxtaposition between the two was really, really nice. I really appreciated that. And because of that, like, I did find like this version gave me a very like Songs for Freedom, like Marley kind of vibe to it. You know, where it's like, we're trying to overcome oppressors, so let's do it with love and patience and trying to like do it the right way as opposed to just being angry about it, you know? And I really appreciated that part about it. I really found a lot of very similar to Bob Marley's kind of vibe in what Mdou Moctar is doing now, where it's a voice for the people of a place, but trying to come from a place of compassion and trying to say, like, I want to do this the right way, not violently. We're not trying to destroy everything that we've built. We really want to come at this from an angle of, let's just listen to the people and let the people have what they need. Kind of a space. And I loved that part of it specifically.
As I mean, this is from an everyman perspective, this is the beginning of the album. This is the first time I'm hearing any of this, of course. I came in thinking, oh yeah, the acoustic guitar, love that. It's got nice little beats, nice little flow to it. I do agree with Mel. It feels a little anxiety inducing with the start to stop, throughout the rhythm. The hand drums are a beautiful touch. Once they start singing, I'm like, oh man, what are we getting ourselves into? What is this? What is this whole album going to sound like this? And it does in a way, but like, I think it gets deeper, it gets more in depth. But this is a good introduction to this album. I think this song was. It took me a couple of listens to really like enjoy it and really feel the flow of it. But overall, it was. I liked this song.
They set the stage really well here too. Like, they're talking to their leaders and they're calling them out they're like saying, like, France and America misled you into giving up your lands. Like, you were taking advantage of. You need to bring it back. You need to take our countries back. And it's like, just kind of like setting the blame and putting it right out there, right at the start, and taking it from there. And then we really dive into more of like the injustices done. But
that's absolutely fair. It's like, it's kind of like when you send an email being like, to whom it may concern, what I'm hoping to address is, and it's like, he's writing the letter. This is the first paragraph of that letter saying, this is the problem. I'm going to go into detail why it's a problem and how all of those problems affected me and us. But this is the main basis. This is what I'm requesting of you. I will give you my poignant points moving forward. This is the beginning and the end of what we're going to be talking about today. And I think that's really cool. And again, I didn't know that when I was listening, because that was a you thing.
Try to fire me now,
to go
bitch.
and learn another language.
What you didn't realize is I was on Duolingo all night last night.
You're just fluent in Nigerian now?
No, I totally. I found a Reddit thread with the with all the translations.
Gotcha. That brings you into Imohar, which Imohar for me was a track that I could listen to over and over again. This is 8 minutes of just remarkable guitar playing.
Yeah, this was my highlight of the album.
It's
and there's a couple of them, but this was
beyond even fathomable how good this is. I'm gonna play a clip here now so people can understand what we're talking about. I had a hard time finding a clip from this song.
It was all
specifically
really
because I couldn't find a point that I felt showed off the song well enough. That whole song, if I could have just played that whole song front to back right now for you guys, I would have, because it is amazing. To only show 50 seconds of it feels like doing it injustice.
Yeah, I agree.
You can feel the Hendrix influence here for sure. It's oh my god, it's transcendental. This entire song is very tribal, hypnotic throughout. It almost it feels a lot like some Tool songs, honestly, where they'll jam out for 10 minutes essentially.
Yeah,
and just the vibes the entire time.
You are stuck in for the ride the whole time. This was also my favorite song off of Funeral for Justice as well.
Yeah.
When I listened to when I got back to it, I was like, this was my favorite track off of Funeral as well. It was so good. And then hearing it acoustically, I'm like, this is the exact same feeling. I could listen to any segment of that song and feel every emotion all the way throughout it. It's for me, Bob Dylan has songs like that for me. And Bob Dylan, the only reason that I really love Bob Dylan is because of his lyrics. I can't even understand what they're saying, and it has me captured like that.
Yeah.
It's how incredible is that? That is an impossible thing to do. The solos that break out through it are just insanity.
Mm-hmm.
There is a little bit of electric guitar, which is kind of a nice touch. I think it's an electric acoustic, but it is still, really it's I did like that
nice
too.
Layer.
This song for me, if you were to give me this song as when we do our singles and stuff like that, this song is a 10 out of 10. This is up for me. This is a perfect song.
Yeah, I wrote out 9.8 out of 10 on this one. Oof.
Yeah.
I loved it. What do you think, Mel?
I loved it. So Imuhar means brother. So they're saying brother, we have this written history. It's written in books. The whole world knows it. But you're abandoning your native tongue. You stop speaking it. You're not writing it. Our children don't know how to speak it and write it. And I think it's really, really heartbreaking because their culture is literally being erased. And I think it is so crazy that a superpower could go in and literally essentially erase a section of history if they wanted to. And that just is so heart-wrenching to me. And it's brother, we need to do something about this. We need to teach our children how to speak this. And we can't just let our entire culture get erased. And their harmonization was really, really pretty. That clapping along with the guitar added such a sense of brotherhood for me, unity, it's showing people coming together. And I loved it. I thought this was so pretty.
Yeah. This is by far my favorite track off of both albums. It is just, again, it is a perfect song in my opinion. It is perfect to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes into Takoba, which was another one of my favorite tracks off of Funeral as well. So, and this one, again, just didn't disappoint hearing an acoustic version of it. So let's get a little clip in of this.
Yeah, this is groovy.
What I love
the way.
about it, that
Yeah.
bass line, this is like one of the very few tracks where the bass line takes like a serious focus. The bass line comes through really, really well and kind of gives you that groove. Like, it does feel dancey, even though you have an idea of what the conversation's about.
Yeah.
It feels dancey for some reason. It's because of that bass groove that kind of goes all the way through all of it. And again, that guitar is just so unique. It's different from anything you're going to hear anywhere else. Like, it's just, it is very specific. Like, it is that region's music. And you're not going to find somebody who does guitar like that on this continent. You know what
Not
I
really.
mean? Like, it's just, it doesn't exist. It's unfortunately just not something that's ever appreciated, and therefore we're never going to hear it here unless you actively look for it. So I'm really happy that we're talking about it, because
Me too. Yeah.
for myself, I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I never ever would have found this by myself.
Yeah.
it wouldn't have hit. And there's some acoustic albums I've listened to, and not just like, as you mentioned, what was it, Billy Joel or whatever. Like,
Jovi.
there's actually Bon Jovi. Sorry, yeah. There are acoustic artists that I really enjoy, but I would never have found this, and I'm so so glad I did.
100%. What? How did Little Miss Rosetta Stone do over there?
Okay, so Takoba is a type of sword used in the Western Sahel, which is a part of Western Africa. And they're hunting Satan. They're calling France Satan in this one, and they're essentially saying, like, I'm thirsty, yet water can't quench my thirst. Headache lingers, but I don't want medicine. I beg you, give me a spear, and I'll hunt down Satan, that vile coward. Like, they're mad now. Like, they've transitioned from like this like sadness to like the only thing that's gonna make this better is killing Satan, essentially. Yeah, I thought it was very powerful.
Yeah, and I just called it Dancy.
Yeah, I was just. But there's something to that. Like, the vibe doesn't match
the vibe
the
changes
lyrics
here 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Interesting.
This is when things start to get angry.
Yeah.
That's understandable. And again, listening to Funeral for Justice, I do find it has an angrier vibe. So Takoba was actually one that I liked more on Funeral for Justice
Yeah.
than on Tears of Injustice. I think the acoustic makes it feel more upbeat, where this is an angry song.
It is angry,
now,
yeah.
I'm learning. And I found in Funeral for Justice, it sounded angry, whereas in this, it doesn't sound as angry. It sounds, like I said, a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more uplifting. So that's kind of the dichotomy of just what both of these albums do side to side. And that's why, like I mentioned, I'm like, you should listen to both sides of it, because I think you're going to get something different from both of them, even though they're the exact same. The words are identical. The compositions are identical. It's just different instruments and vibe, which is kind of super cool. Did anybody else have anything to say on that?
No, I said my piece on that
Cool.
one. Yeah.
Amazing. That takes you to Susume Tamashek, which, let's just play a little bit of it.
Susume.
So this track, first of all, I love the fact that like it opens up just to kind of like riffing, like it's literally just Mdou Moctar riffing with his guitar. Which again, if you don't believe that he's an incredible guitar, start listening. That's all I can say, because like he's incredible at it. It's unbelievable. So like just listening to him riff, I could do for hours and hours. This song kind of felt like this is again, you can't understand the words. This felt like a song that you could sing along to though, regardless. It was kind of one of the first ones where I'm like, this kind of almost feels like I'm gonna hear and like it's gonna be like a call response type song. Like this feels like I'm collaborating with you kind of a track. And then when it switches, which is why I specifically picked that clip, where it switches from that guitar solo into that like stomp, clap, clap kind of like rhythm all the way through, I thought that was beautiful. It was it transitioned so perfectly somehow, even though it gave like a completely different vibe. And it does that multiple times. It switches back and forth between those two. And I was like, that's so, like, it's super cool. Like, it's kind of like a clap dance type of a track. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the tempo change there is incredible. And I can't stop comparing it to Tool, because Tool does that too so much in their songs. And that's what this reminded me of. And like, what's even more impressive though is I did some half-ass internet research on this too. It's like apparently this whole album only took like 2 days for principal recording.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because they kept the arrangements like spontaneous. Like they didn't come in with pre-done arrangements. They're just like, okay, we know what the songs were on the previous album. Let's just kind of riff and do our thing. Yeah. And that's what makes this even more impressive, is that so much of this is just like off the riff and just this is what they felt. You know?
Could you imagine throwing this together in 2 days?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. We barely put our podcast together in 2 days. You know what I mean?
We don't put our podcast together in 2 days. What are you talking about? I wish I could put it together in 2 days.
Yeah. So
we spent all like weeks trying to put things together.
Right. There's only 8 tracks on this album, and this is just another highlight for me. Like this is, I loved this.
Fully agree.
Am I making this up, or did I actually read? I thought they recorded this too when they were essentially like detained. Like I thought something happened and they were.
It was after they got back.
It was after they got back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, after they
so
were
like I remember them being. I remember reading something about them being like separated from their families and detained for some reason. I don't remember what, and then this was the result of that.
This came after that.
Okay,
Yeah, after they got back.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, for this one, Susame essentially means cease weeping. So they're saying like stop weeping, Tomacek. And they're calling. This one also seems more like a call to action for me than previously, so I think that explains like the tempo change. Like they want, it's about like a helpless orphan that's been abandoned by 3 countries. So the 3 countries are Niger, Mali, and Algeria. So they're calling out countries specifically at this point, and they're saying like go inform, stop crying, like we need to like step up and do something. They call out straight up that their issues are that they're being oppressed, there's a lack of unity, and ignorance are the 3 big issues going on, which like ignorance is unfortunately an issue everywhere. Look at these fucking men that are in power.
Say it with your chest.
Yeah, fuck you, Donald Trump. I can't wait for the hate comments there. But yeah, so like this is they don't want to cry anymore. They want action. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a lot of you can't cry anymore. Let's stop. We don't have time to sit here and just be upset about it. Like we need to actually like do something about it. So let's stop. Yeah. We can't. Like, we can submit our grievances all we want, but that doesn't actually do anything. So like let's stop crying about it and let's go fix it.
Yeah.
I love that. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That rolls into Imagine, which Mel and I were just making sure that we understood. It is actually just the group of people, formerly known as the Berbers, but I think that's kind of an obsolete term at this point. It's no longer Imagine is the proper term for it now. Which were the free people. of the area and stuff like that. For me, this song, I really appreciated, first of all, using the title track kind of all the way through as somebody who doesn't understand the words, being able to kind of understand and appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
The pulsating kind of beat all the way through is nice. It's a nice song. It wasn't one of my favorites. This was, if I had to pick one song that I didn't enjoy, this is it. And Mel's probably going to tell me exactly how meaningful it all is right now, which is going to be really unfortunate and make me look bad. But
Yep.
Yeah, so this one is, like you said, it means free people. It's more of like a call to action for they're calling on the free people to unite with them. Like, you share a turban, you share one language, like, this is a symbol of our pride. We are all free people. Stand with us. Like, stand with us. We can't afford to be divided. We have no time for hate. So yeah, they're just looking for people to, like, stand by their side, like, and fight with
And Brandito hates unity, as he just told us, so.
Exactly. What a dickhead. I don't think you're actually a dickhead. Not for this. Sometimes you're a dickhead.
Not for this, anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
anyways,
I like this one. I the claps and the hand drums were certainly doing a lot of work in this song.
Yeah.
As opposed to guitars. I rated this one pretty high, honestly, out of most of these.
Yeah.
Not my favorite. It's mid tier on the list for me, but yeah, it's a solid song. I liked it.
Fair. No, that's really kind of all I had on it. That takes us into Chinta, which this was a very kind of rocky, more like kind of guitar riff. You know what I mean? Like, this was what I felt was like kind of the most rock sounding song. I don't know if this translated as well into acoustic. Personally, this one did really, really good when it was electric. Again, because it is kind of rock. It feels kind of optimistic, but I feel like this one doesn't feel optimistic in like the right way. I feel like this song might be a little bit more angry or might be a little bit more spiteful, in my opinion. And the electric did a lot better of a job presenting that than the acoustic version does, in my opinion. And it kind of felt very similar to Imagine to me, personally. Just in that it wasn't my favorite. It's still good, but it didn't quite smack for me, you know?
Yeah. Before Mel tells us what's about, to me it felt like it was like a dance, almost like a festival of some kind. Like it felt celebratory to me, which it's interesting based on the rest of the album. It's certainly not
exactly
the subject matter. We're not celebrating anything here. But that's how it felt to me. This was the low light for me on the album. Not, as you said, not bad, but not, nothing special here. So, Mel, how are we assholes?
Okay, so Chinta means like worry, concern, anxiety, like you're like really thinking things over. And so this song actually had one of my favorite lines. I'll like lead into it. So he's essentially saying like, nostalgia for my land engulfs my soul. I raise my gaze and there before me lies Chinta. So like worry, concern. I've roamed the globe for many years, yet Chinta's splendor remains unmatched was such a powerful line for me. Like, out of everything that you see, like, that anxiety, that worry for your people takes precedent over everything else. And I thought that was just really, I thought that was a really, really cool line. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just,
So
they're worried about their people. That's...
What were your thoughts on the song?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was cool. I don't know. But again, I think I was more drawn to this one because I liked that line so much. Like, as I was like reading, I was just reading along with translations as I was like going through the album. So like, yeah,
This cool view.
This did feel like one of the tracks that didn't spotlight the guitar, which is why I think maybe I was drawn back a little bit more. Because then you go into Oh France, which is the next track coming up, which re-brought that guitar as kind of the spotlight. And I'll show you exactly how right now.
Nice.
I think one of my favorite parts about this part is that rhythm guitar. You hear those high notes. So this one was also one of my favorite ones from Funeral as well. This one translated so beautifully between both of them because the acoustic version, what I loved is just hearing those highlights of that, like I said, that rhythm guitar, those really like kind of twangy, like it added so many more dimensions than I think Mdou Moctar usually has. Again, no different than how I love the bass line of Sosome. Mm-hmm. I think it does such a good job of kind of emphasizing just how well instrumentally Mdou Moctar is, because it is a band as well. It's not just one person. It is mostly one person, but it is actually a band. So like just having that like little bit of rhythm guitar like kind of come out with these little highlights midway through was just really, really pleasant. I thought it was really cool for somebody who has really takes the show and puts it on themselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that clip you played there. The riff there with the guitar was just chef's kiss. Fantastic.
So good.
This is a highlight for me on the album. One of the, probably top 3, certainly.
Yeah, really pretty. They're calling out France here. They're saying they're better off without France. Clearly, I
France?
couldn't tell. Yeah, but they're essentially saying like France's actions are veiled in cruelty, and we're better off without them. We don't approve of what you're doing, and get out of here. But
Nice.
I mean, my note on the instrumentals throughout is just that they're stunning. Like I don't have anything else to say. That he's incredible at what he does. Like very impressed by the guitar work. But I liked it.
It's hard to really knock any of it, and
I
that
know.
takes us into the. It is a short album, and we end up at the very end here with Modern Slaves, which I don't have a clip pulled up for, but it does kind of end off what kind of feels like a song of togetherness. There's a lot of like the harmonies and the vocals like really kind of all coming together, which I thought was a really, really nice way to end it. This is where I kind of bring up like Bob Marley again, where it's very Marley-esque, where it's about the people, and the whole album was always about the people. So Mdou Moctar actually brings people to all sing alongside him kind of throughout, and then he spotlights himself briefly and then continues to go back into kind of like a choir type, a couple of bars of kind of choir type singing. And I think it works really well of, I'm just the person talking right now, but we're all talking together. Like we all need to kind of come together and do this. And I really, really enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you what it means?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I thought this was like such a heartbreaking ending, and the emotion really came through on the vocals for me. And I thought it was also just really pretty, but the emotion really stood out for me here. So they're opening up with, "Oh world, why be so selective about human beings? My people are crying while you laugh. All you do is watch. Why be so selective about countries? Yours are well built and ours are being destroyed." So this is literally, they're calling out the entire world at this point. They're just like, we're all living in our bubble and we're so isolated from everything that's going on. And they're crying. They're just calling my people are crying while you laugh, like hurts my soul. Because some people too some people are fucking evil, and the rest of us are just ignorant and not paying attention to what's going on.
Right.
So I saw this as more as a general call to action to everybody. Like, whoever's listening, please pay attention. Like,
interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. I think the vocals in this song are really the best on the album, honestly.
Agree. Yeah.
Like they mix well with the instrumentals. The instrumentals I can go on about all day. I think it's a solid song. It's a good ending for me. It really wraps up the album pretty nicely.
Fully agree.
Yeah. This was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, in conclusion, then, Bob, how'd you feel?
Man, I loved the vibes of this the entire time. I again love a good acoustic. Really, the instrumentals throughout this album were the highlight for me. the first time through, the vocals weren't doing it for me so much. They kind of drew me out a little bit of what was happening with the instrumentals. But the second time through, I appreciated them way more, and I feel like they really do belong in basically every song. I feel like the lyrics bring more to it after the second listen. It was recommended to me by certain members of On Beat Off Script that I should probably be high when I listen to this. So I'm
10 out of 10 would recommend.
I'm looking forward to that listen in the future. But man, yeah, this was great, and also listening to the original album. What was it? Justice for Funeral?
Funeral for Justice.
Funeral for Justice. Yeah. Funeral for Justice. Sorry, I should know that as the podcast guy, but
how fucking dare you? Fired again.
Fired again. It was that I loved that too, because that has a completely different vibe to it at the same, but also the same vibe at the same time. Like it was, you could feel the Jimi Hendrix, you could feel even a bit of Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
In some of those songs.
It's the psych rock, like that vibe kind of all the way throughout.
Yeah, and that's not the album we're reviewing, but also you can't talk about this acoustic album without talking about that album. And
you have to. I think there's so many draws between both of them that are worth discussing. Like, truthfully,
yeah, and the fact that they put this together again in 2 days, or did the principal recording in 2 days, just impresses the hell out of me. I was blown away by this album. I loved it in a lot of ways, and it's probably when I need just awesome music to listen to while I'm working or whatever, like, this is going up there. I gave this an 8.9 out of 10 overall.
Love that.
Yeah. Mel, what do you think?
Yeah, I loved it. Like I said, I felt I learned so much from it.
Yeah.
His guitar playing is literally stunning. It's flawless. I have no critique on that at all. And I was the member of the On Beat Off Script cast that suggested listening to it stoned, because I was stoned as fuck last night while I listened to it, and I enjoyed it.
And you translated it and got to deal with all the heavy subject matter
I'm
of
a
translating
productive stoner. I hyperfixate.
You really are.
I don't. Trust me, there are times where I just want to sit on the couch and play Fortnite, but I can hyperfixate.
I couldn't imagine being stoned and being like, oh yeah, like, Mdou Moctar is currently just asking for the politicians to stop screwing everybody over.
I don't know.
This is a beg.
It
yeah, what a high killer. Yeah.
Kind of, I don't know. It really helped me zone in, and I just was in the music more. Like, my body felt in touch with it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. And this is the type of music you do that for.
Thing
yeah.
for me to say.
I just feel it more, man.
I don't know. I like it.
Like, it's in my body.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I gave it a 9.3.
Wow.
I loved
9.3.
Yeah, I thought it was stunning.
I mean, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know if I liked it more than Funeral for Justice, personally.
I thought the messaging was stronger in an acoustic form.
Agreed.
Maybe, but again, I wasn't doing translations, so therefore, I'm the. This is the music.
You didn't.
This is the music person. Now, again, is his guitar work phenomenal? At the end of the day, if you like guitar at all, if you play the guitar, listen to Mdou Moctar. Listen to what they're doing, because it's incredible. The guitar work is masterful. The message is obviously fantastic, and it's important. I think we all need to learn a little bit about what's going on kind of more across the world. There's obviously things that are happening that are not things that Tate McRae is going to be able to cover. You know what I mean? Which we're going into here shortly. So, it's just like there's things that are happening around the world. So opening up your mind and kind of doing that, I think this is an important album for doing that. I'm really glad that we got the opportunity to cover it, because I'm glad that you guys appreciate it as much as you did. For myself, I've listened to quite a bit of Malian blues and Saharan music and whatnot. It's
no big deal.
It's kind of something that I do. That's why I listen to everything. For myself, I thought this was a 7.9. I thought it was very good. Not quite in that like upper echelon. Yeah. Importance in terms of message, absolutely, it's a 10 out of 10. Sure. In terms of guitar playing, it's a 10 out of 10. Total composition, I don't think it was the better of the exact same album.
Sure, yeah.
Right, so for
fair.
myself, 7-9, I think it's just right on that cusp, because for me, Funeral is probably like an 8-4, and so it's just like they're sitting right around one another. I like the electric feel because it does fall into that Tina Machine kind of sound. If I'm saying that correctly, I might have completely butchered that, but I hope I got it right.
Do you think we're rating it higher than you because you just have more experience with the genre? And this for us, we're like, this 100%. Is mind blowing.
Maybe.
This is a brand new thing for you guys, so it feels exciting, right? If I gave you a vanilla ice cream cone and you've never had ice cream before, you're gonna be like, this is incredible.
That's true.
Vanilla is still one of the most boring flavors, you know what I mean? And this is in no way vanilla. I need to make sure I mention. This is in zero ways of vanilla. This is... I'm not going to try to compare Mdou Moctar to ice cream. That feels like quite literally the largest showing of privilege that might have ever existed in the world.
Real?
I think, like the plight of their
very
people,
white
it's kind of a rocky road, wouldn't you say?
Yo, wait, Bob, that was good. That was good.
We're gonna clip this right. 3, 2, 1.